Hi! Sim Update number 4 was released today, bringing us to version 1.16.2.0. The release notes are linked in the description. This update is supposed to address issues with the glass cockpits as well as issues with the automatic flight control systems, as well as a variety of flight model issues. Level of detail issues with trees and water as well as tree density are also supposed to be addressed. ATC phraseology is supposed to be corrected. To be honest, I wish they would also add accents to the ATC. That way when I ask for clearance at the Edinburgh airport, I get a nice Scottish brogue.
Runway 03 left hand, QNH 1024.
Turboprop engine logic issues are supposed to also be addressed, but I've never encountered these bugs since I rarely fly a turboprop. If you experienced issues with it and see an improvement, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Excessive icing is also supposed to be addressed in this update, along with live weather and wind readings. Prior to getting the update, I ensured my community folder was empty. You can just rename it if you like before doing the update. Again, I always do this in case one of my add-ons is incompatible with the new updates to the sim. You can alternatively use an add-on linker or manager to deal with your community folder. I did a video on an excellent one, and that's linked in the description. I also renamed my cache files just to make sure I start clean with the new update. I launched the MS Store application and checked for updates, and it applied a 1 GB update to the sim. It took a really long time. I actually tested my internet speed to see if the issue was on my side, but my connection was just fine. Following this, I launched the sim and it went into a windowed mode to tell me it had an update as usual. A quick Alt-Enter key combo restored it back to full screen. The sim's second update was 3.45 gigabytes and it took its sweet time getting here. Once the update was applied, I let the sim continue loading. Once it was at the main menu, I exited and rebooted just for safety's sake. Yes, I don't trust these updates. Once Windows was back up and running, I set the compatibility properties of the sim's EXE to ensure it had the best performance possible. I find the EXE using search and open the file location, then right mouse click on the EXE and click on Properties. If you don't have permissions on your system to update the EXE properties, you can use the Take Ownership add-on. I linked to the article on doing this in the description. Using this, you can gain access to the Properties menu. Once in there, I click on Compatibility and select Disable Full Screen Optimizations. Then I click on Change High DPI Settings and enable Override High DPI Scaling Behavior. I leave the default application setting below that alone. I click OK to dismiss this dialog and OK once again to dismiss the Properties dialog. Then I relaunch the sim. After the initial splash screens, I got this error I've never seen before telling me that an error occurred and the app can't validate my ownership license. Not very encouraging, but it was probably due to busy servers setting up the downloads. I quit the sim and restarted it again to see if the issue persisted. Upon relaunching the sim, the error did not reoccur, so I guess it was just due to server load on the cloud side of things. After that, I timed how long it took the sim to load, and it came in at 2 minutes 30 seconds flat. Checking the menu, I could see we're now at version 1.16.2.0. After this, I went into the Content Manager to see if there were any updates, and indeed there were, 30 in total for a 498 megabyte update. So I allowed these to load. Following this, I did a quick check through the menus in the sim to see if any undocumented changes were present, and I saw nothing new. As always, I check out the bug in the Cessna 172 to see if the fuel shutoff was still reversed, and as expected, they have not fixed this yet. You'd think that since they did updates to the 172 in this patch, we'd see a fix for this. I tested FPS around the Kilo Victor November Yankee Airport in Los Angeles, where I've tested it before. I used the built-in game bar tool in Windows to display the current FPS in the upper right corner of the screen. The FPS was consistent with my previous experience, about 35 FPS on external view, and about 42 on an internal cockpit view. The FPS remained consistent doing turns as well. I also wanted to mention that I used a different flight recorder this time. SkyDolly by Oliver Knoll. It has all of the features of flight recorder that I normally use, but it adds a database of flights instead of having to load and save them as files. Now you can just click on an entry in the database window right here. It also offers multiple playback speeds, forward and reverse, which the flight recorder doesn't. So some very nice features here in this flight recorder. I've linked to this utility in the description. It's free, so feel free to tip the developer Oliver if you use it and like the utility. According to the patch notes, a ton of tuning has been done for the overall flight models of all aircraft in the sim. Special focus has been on the 152, 172, the TBM 930, the Beech King Air, the Caravan, the Extra 330, as well as fixes to Garmin avionics systems as well. Fixes for the CH flight controls and the Honeycomb Bravo throttle were also applied. One known issue is that you may crash to the desktop when exiting VR mode in the sim, and they're aware of this and are looking at that issue. I suspect we'll get a hotfix for that fairly soon. In conclusion, the patch went very smoothly. Other than that one odd error message that I attributed to the servers getting overloaded, I had no issues whatsoever. Okay, that's it for this brief video. If you liked the video, please hit like, as that really helps. And until the next video, take care.